60. 187 Ride or Die. Co-op isn't a concept that makes it into racing games very often. When it does, it always piques my interest, and 187 was one of the times it was able to keep my interest. A story mode sees you playing as Buck, who wants to rule the street racing scene. However, these races aren't any ordinary races, as most people don't finish them alive. You and a friend can take part in these races and battlegrounds with one player driving and the other one as a gunner. During the races, you can pick up a small arsenal of weapons to attack and temporarily remove your enemies from the race. Different race types will keep the game interesting, as a standard deathmatch race will satisfy your bloodlust, single weapon races will get you thinking tactically, and elimination races will keep you on edge, as last place of every lap is killed till there's only one racer left. Deathmatches will change the co-op formula a bit, as the gunner and driver have separate life bars, and if the gunner goes down, then they need to be healed in order for you to be able to defend yourself. I would personally go as far as to say that this is a hidden gem, and for all you non-traditional racing fans out there, this is absolutely one to check out. '59 Mario Kart Double Dash. I know I just said co-op isn't a concept that makes it into racing games very often, yet here we are with another one. 187 handled the concept in its own way, but Double Dash had way more to offer to me. It shares the same idea of a co-op partner riding shotgun and throwing weapons at opponents. But what's unique about Double Dash is that you can swap between driver and passenger at any time, which allows you to save weapons for later. Double Dash also takes into account your choices, as each car has its own stats, but the size of your characters will determine which cars you're allowed to drive. Lighter characters get the best acceleration with the lowest speed, heavier characters get the highest speed with the lowest acceleration, and the medium all-rounders are, well, all-rounders. Despite which car you go for, you'll face troubles with all of them. The cars all feel slippery on the tracks, where regular turning hardly affects your vehicle, resulting in a lot of accidents that can ruin your winning streak. Your choice of character also has to be considered, as they will also determine what your special weapon is. As you can see, there's a lot of tactical thinking here, more so than any other Mario Kart title, which didn't go over well with everyone, as some didn't like the lack of freedom. However, it does offer a lot to players regardless of that. A ton of tracks just beaming with personality, new and old weapons to fight against your foes with, shortcuts to steal a lead, schadenfreude as you watch people's knees wear away on the road, and a large amount of characters to play with. I really hope that they decide to make a sequel now that Mario Kart 8 has just shown how much more they can do with the series. '58 Road Trip Adventure. Yes, another kids game, and yes, once again I don't care. I won't deny though that this game is cheaply made and it does start off weak. Your car is slow as shit, your turning is awful, your acceleration is slower than the development of Dead Island 2. Basically your car is a bag of wank. But through effort, you can end up with a car that dominates any race. There's a fuck ton of modifications you can get, and you can hire on team members to help you win races so you can win more money and make your dream car a reality. When you're sick of racing, there are townsfolk that you can help to get rewards, mini games to take part in, and an open world to explore. Or you can just slap an advert on your car and go on a long, nice relaxing drive across the huge map for payment. It's a nice chill game with a bit of wholesomeness to it. I always feel calm while playing it, and well, you know how angry I can get. '57 Rugrats Scavenger Hunt. 90s kids like me loved the Rugrats. Hell, I still love it. 90s me also loved the Rugrat games. All of them. Even the shit ones. But looking back on them now, as a sad, stupid adult, I can only say now that I would probably enjoy 3 of them. Scavenger Hunt being the least of those 3, but it was still one I really like. You choose from one of 3 board games to play alone or with friends. Each one has their own stipulations and goals to carry out. One is a co-op game where you need to find all the statue pieces before that bitch we call Angelica finds hers, a versus game where you need to be the first baby to find the sunken treasure, and a third where you play as abominations of nature in a race for sweets. Despite how awful the graphics are, it is a game that's still fun to play today. The games do require a decent amount of attention to play though, especially if you want to try and get advantage over another player, which is even more delightful now as we are fully grown adults who love to fuck each other over in a video game. 56. Tekken 3. I'm not a huge fan of fighting games. In fact, I'm not even sure if I qualify as a casual fan. There have certainly been some games I've really enjoyed, but by no means am I fantastic or even okay at them. I'm certainly no Maximilian dude. But I still find fun in some of them, and when it came to Tekken, all but 2 of them were hits for me. One of them is the legendary third entry. Solid controls, solid graphics, solid gameplay, solid characters, including the world's toughest furry. Basically solid in almost every way. This is where the infamous Tekken Force mode first arrived, and it was pretty abysmal. 2D fight controls do not work in a 3D environment like this, Namco. It's also where Tekken Ball mode first arrived. Remember that? I missed that. And I don't have a Wii U version of Tekken Tag 2 to play, so I can't relive the experience on a more modern console. Despite its faulty additional modes though, the game is great with a lot of personal combos for you to develop, characters to unlock, endings to watch, and glory to be made from watching your opponent's failure in slow motion. 55. SmackDown vs Raw 06. Before 2K got their hands on the WWE game rights and turned them into simulators, THQ was a powerhouse of wrestling games, making them chaotic, insane, mad, and goofy experiences for all fans to enjoy. One of my favourites of this era was the SmackDown vs Raw series, in particular the 2006 title. Its controls and mechanics were effective and well thought out. You could pull off larger than life stunts, backstage arenas allow for some great memorable moments, and the roster is top notch. As is tradition now in wrestling games, you could create a wrestler, which also expanded into create a moveset, create an entrance, create a stable. But SmackDown vs Raw also offered the Create a Belt function, allowing you to make the game more personal to you. Admittedly, some of the creator modes did lack some polish, and the story mode did get cheesy in both good and bad ways. Yet it was still fun to play and entertaining whenever you did pick it up. And while I don't have anything against the simulation model of wrestling games, I wish that 2K would take a page out of the book of THQ and make a game which plays more like the ones of old. '54. Eternal Darkness. Forget hidden gems. This is a hidden diamond of a game. A GameCube exclusive, Eternal Darkness is a survival horror with a strong focus on the effects of insanity. The story follows Alex Roivas as she investigates the murder of her uncle. She discovers the Tome of Eternal Darkness, a book of horrors which has a long history that grants powers to those who hold it. As you discover more pages, you will learn of the people in history who have been subjected to the book and the eldritch horrors that it brings with it. In terms of gameplay, the game is pretty standard. The controls are very simple, but they work. Anything you want to do in a level, you can do with ease and without forgetting what the controls do. And when it comes to the levels, they can be what you'd expect from a Resident Evil clone. You navigate the levels avoiding any hazards it has while solving puzzles and fighting monsters. What makes the game stand out, however, is its use of uneasing visuals and how your characters will go insane the longer they are exposed to the monsters. The lower your sanity, the more the game will fuck with you. At first, it starts off pretty tame. Your characters might start having anxiety attacks and just mumbling to themselves through fear. Then, they might start having disturbing hallucinations. And it will even go as far as to fuck with you, the player, when your game will suddenly malfunction by itself at the worst possible time, which also turns out to be hallucinations. For all you horror fans out there, this is a must play for a one-of-a-kind experience in Eldritch-inspired horror. #53 Justice League Legacy. Fan game made by independent developer Zvitor, Justice League Legacy is a work-in-progress beat-em-up where new characters, features, levels and mechanics are always being worked on and introduced to new builds of the game. Seeing game developers who actually give a shit about games is a growing rarity amongst AAA companies, so turning to independent developers is a much needed spark of joy in the gaming world. The cast, currently standing at 60 plus and growing, gives you a metric fuck ton of variety, with each character having a unique moveset, animations, powers and look, allowing you and a friend to play through some of DC Comics' most iconic storylines as any DC team you want. However, there is difficulty to the game, which is brought on through flawed design rather than challenge. Bosses and enemies are cheap as hell. Sometimes they attack consistently, doing their best to never give you an opportunity to fight back. Thankfully, this doesn't plague the entirety of the game, and I hope Zvitor balances this out in a future update. Also, at this current moment in time, there's a crossover mode that lets you play through Streets of Rage as any of the DC heroes with up to 3 other friends. And anyone who's on his Patreon, you can get a sneak peek at his next crossover that's coming to the game soon. If you want to try this game out for yourself, you can download the free public version from Zvitor's website, or you can join his Patreon and become a beta tester for the latest versions. I highly recommend this game to any beat-em-up lovers out there. #52 Rage Racer. Lots of racing games in this video. Picture, if you will, the year is 1996. A 6-year-old Spectrum Z sits down with his dad to experience the newly released PS1 for the first time. The first game we play? Rage Racer. Just looking at the game brings back a load of memories. The blocky yet beautiful living environments, the vast selection of upgradable cars, the custom logo maker, the satisfaction of advancing a class, that one U-turn that I could never pull off, the odd glitchy moment which was funny to witness, the Lee Evans-esque sexy sat-nav racer voice.
You're one smooth operator.
Fucking right, love.
So many good times I've had with this fantastic racer, but the thing that stands out the most? The soundtrack, which slaps ass. What else needs to be said? #51 Muppet Race Mania. Jim Henson's The Muppets has had a hell of a cultural impact on media, and it was only a matter of time before they found their way into video games. One of those titles includes this frustratingly fun kart racer. You think throwing a blue shell in Mario Kart is spiteful? It's got nothing on the sheer horseshit you'll fall victim to here. The game features a decent sized cast of characters and each one has their own personal vehicles. Your vehicles and characters can be used in any combinations, but your vehicles will affect how well you race and the character is just for show. Whichever combination you choose, you can engage in several vehicular activities like races, battle races, stunt shows, adventures and death matches. However, the cars handle poorly. They slip and slide around the tracks and the super close camera makes it hard to avoid incoming dangers. And the AI is so full of shit. It has no mercy when it comes to anything you do with them. You could be way ahead on a race, closing in on the finish line. And then, one ill-timed super boost or super attack from the AI, and it's all over. However, just like my opinion of Flatout, I like part of this game. Playing this madness with friends makes for a time that causes a lot of laughs and joyfully heated moments. Racing through film locations while you fire props from the show at your friends to dick them over in the name of fun was always a highlight for the night, especially when drinks were involved and people were drunkenly singing along to Rainbow Connection. Now, if playing solo, the races and the death matches are quite challenging and not in the best way. If you're playing with friends, then the entirety of the game offers a lot to enjoy. And even if you are solo, the rest of the game offers a lot for you to do and have fun with. If you are ever looking for a silly time to enjoy, then I'd say give this one a go.